Welcome back, Wolfpack Verlis here, and this is how to use Girafarig. Girafarig doesn't really have too much of an identity with its stats, unfortunately. When we look at it, it only has 90 in the special attack, 80 in the attack, so if you're even going physical, there aren't really too much things that you're trading off poorly with, and 85 on the speed, so you're not looking to be a really fast Pokemon. The rest of it isn't that great either. 70 on the hit points, 65 on the defenses means that there isn't a lot of tank potential, that you have a really just high chance of getting outsped, outdamaged, and you can't really set up with Girafarig, which is going to be unfortunate. And that's why this Pokemon is just kind of really average, but it doesn't have anything, it doesn't have any moveset gimmicks that I can really take off with. It doesn't have that one glorious stat that it can ride upon, and that's very unfortunate. So looking at its typing, it's a normal psychic typing. Normal psychic is actually a very good typing, only weak to bug and dark. That your fighting weakness is taken care of with a psychic. You are resistant to psychic and you are immune to ghost. And immunity and resistance for two fairly not incredibly common weaknesses. Like bug isn't that common, dark you see it every once in a while, but overall, normal psychic, this typing needs to be on more Pokemon, that it actually plays out really well. Now when we hop over into Pokemon Showdown, Girafarig doesn't really have too much that it can do. It's a baton passer, and that's about as far as its potential goes. So you can look at it from an agility standpoint, set up agility, and then just try to go and give it to another Pokemon. But there are speed boost baton passers, and really Girafarig can only add Calm Mind. At least with that, your agilities, you're giving speed, then you can give Calm Mind, so special defense, special attack, and with Focus Sash, it does give you a chance to get all these things set up. That if your opponent's going for Stealth Rocks, they're trying to Calm Mind, they're getting their own setup going, at least Girafarig can be on par with that. Agility, Calm Mind, Baton Pass into a Pokemon that's going to make a ton of use from that might make it to where you get a little bit more out of that Baton Pass than whatever your setup your opponent is going for. I also like the idea of just having Future Sight here. Future Sight, super high amount of base damage, 120 base power, so it's going to get stabbed and it's going to work out really well, and then it hits 2 turns after being used. So that means, you use Future Sight, Baton Pass, and then the Pokemon coming in is at least going to have some damage support. And while it does have the agility, it's going to be really quick. If your Pokemon doesn't do enough damage to finish off a Pokemon, that Future Sight just might do it at the end. So that could maybe play out, and that's really all I see is that. A little bit of prediction, a little bit of health damage, along with getting that Baton Pass set up, and Girafarig might make use of it. Its abilities, Inner Focus is kind of the best, like if they just might have a flinch gimmick, you can get through it. But Sap Sipper and Early Bird aren't incredibly useful. Pokemon's attack is raged by 1 stage if hit by a grass move. Well, it only has 80 attacks, so gaining 1 stage on that isn't a lot. And it doesn't have, like, the most insane physical move pool either. So I was just thinking we run Modest Nature, run Special Attack Investment. As for the speed, though, I was honestly considering running more hit points. That the hit points do look a little funny, like why are we running Focus Sash and investing Tanky? Because there's really no other place to put the stats. That with 206 speed using agility, you're going to outspeed a lot of Pokemon that aren't Scarf, that aren't using any boosts. So putting the speed investment is really just overkill against Scarf, against other Pokemon that are trying to boost their speed. But if you're not worried about that, then you can go hit points. Maybe you might have a 3-hit KO potential against some really tanky Pokemon that aren't trying to look for damage. Then Girafarig might be able to get some extra setup in there. Also, instead of Future Sight, Calm Mind, you can run Nasty Plot. Girafarig gets access to Nasty Plot, so at least your 306 special attack going to be doubled into 612, and now we're actually looking at something good with Psychic. So Psychic, now you can get walled out by Dark Pokemon, but that's why we have Baton Pass with this set. The idea is use Agility, Nasty Plot. If somehow you're still alive, you're still kicking pretty well, use Psychic, try to get that damage in, and then you still have the option to Baton Pass. That with that Baton Pass option, you can get damage, keep that alive, maybe put Girafarig on a Baton Pass chain. That way it has a little bit of support, and then it can just keep that Baton Pass chain going. So it's good on Baton Pass team, but if it's receiving Baton Pass solely, there are other Pokemon that can make better use of it, but with this, it can at least benefit in its own way, adding a little extra speed, adding some Nasty Plot or Calm Minds, and then it still has some damage potential. Other things, Early Bird unfortunately isn't going to work because Girafarig isn't tanky enough to make it work. It can't rest, and it can't pop out of that rest early to do anything. So really, that's all there is to it. With doubles Girafarig, Sap Sipper, we already talked how that isn't too effective. They're just Pokemon that do what Girafarig does better. If we look at Girafarig's moveset, it's just standard psychic stuff that, it's physical, little interesting because it has like Crunch and Earthquake and stuff, but there are other Pokemon that get Crunch and Earthquake. But with this, you get Psychic, you get Energy Ball. You don't get Dark Pulse, which is actually kind of unfortunate. There are some Pokemon that do get Dark Pulse while being a Psychic type, and then you can just kind of look at Shadow Ball. So your coverage isn't going to be absurd, and pretty much unless you're looking for that Baton Pass, Girafarig isn't going to accomplish much. So that's really all I could come up with for Girafarig. If we really do break it down though, Johto wasn't a competitive region. That there's probably the least amount of competitive Pokemon in the Johto region than any other region, and now we're in the middle of the Pokedex. So these Pokemon are just kind of okay, they're more storyline Pokemon, they're not looking to be these super secret busted gems. Oh hey, I just realized, Girafarig's a palindrome. Look at that right there. So there's your cool Girafarig fact of the day. And other than that, we at least have something for you guys to use for all you Girafarig lovers out there. So I tried my best. Hope you guys enjoyed the video regardless, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.